Write the sine function. So I know we're going to have sine. Notice that the original sine function, if it helps, draw it. So the original sine function starts here at 0, 0. So right away you should notice that your midline has changed. So I'm going to draw this line in there. This is now your midline. So y equals 1. So that, negative 1. That means that this whole function has shifted down 1. That's a negative. Okay, so I know I'm going to have a negative 1 for my d value. Okay, another thing I have noticed is that my amplitude is not 1. It actually increased. So how far I go up or down from the midline is the a, the amplitude. And in this case, it looks like it's 2. So it went up 2 and down 2. So that means my a term is going to be 2. And it doesn't look like there's any other changes. Everything else is the same. So I'm going to have 2 sine theta or sine x. In this case, I don't think it says it either way. So we can say sine theta. And then minus 1. 24, write the cosine. So each time, really be careful because it would be easy to make a mistake here. So the cosine starts at 2 instead of the traditional 1. And it goes down, up. So we need to find that midline. It doesn't look like it's changed. It doesn't look like there's any shift at all. So y still equals 0 for our midline, which means the d term is just a 0. We don't even need it. Okay, let's look at the amplitude. The amplitude, how far does it go up and down from that midline? And in this case, it looks like it goes 2 in both directions. So I'm going to have my a term as 2. I'm going to have cosine. And it doesn't look like there's any kind of up and down shift. So now we need to work on the insides. We need to work on this period and if there's a horizontal, which I think we already decided there is not. So let's look at the b term. So to find the b term, this right here is the period, which looks like it's pi. To find the b term, you have 2 pi over b equals, in this case, pi, the period. So if I cross multiply, I'm going to bring my math over here. So I'd have b pi equals 2 pi. Divide by pi on both sides, and hopefully you can see that b equals 2. Okay, now you won't always have to do this. Hopefully it'll be more intuitive, but that is my b term. So I have cosine of, and you can put parentheses, 2 theta, and then close your parentheses. Because there is no horizontal shift, there is no vertical shift. All right, 25 is the most involved. So I need to look at this, and it is sine, so make sure to notice that it is sine. And then I'm going to go and take this and figure out the midline. I always think the midline is the easiest to find, but you can really start anywhere. So this is y equals 1. So that means my d term, my vertical shift, is 1. So keep that in mind. I'll kind of put it over here. Plus 1 for my d. Okay, it is sine. And then I look to find the original sine function starts at 0, 0. This doesn't. Starts at 0, 0, goes up, down, and then up again. Let me make that a little bit brighter. So the original starts here, up, down, and up again. So that's what the original sine function looks like, which means this point has moved. It is no longer at 0, 0. So it shifted up 1, which we already know, but it also shifted over pi fourths. Okay, so hopefully you know that the horizontal shift is that c term. So my c term, I'm going to put it right here, I'm going to subtract pi over 4. And hopefully you know that since it went right, it actually needs to be a negative. Okay, now check the amplitude. It looks like it still goes up 1 and down 1, so we don't have an a value. This is the first example that we don't have an a value, which is kind of nice. So you need to see whether it does or does not. In this case, it doesn't. So I'm going to have sine of, and now I need to figure out my b term. So I've got my c, my d, the a was, the amplitude was just 1, so I didn't need that. So I have 2 pi over b equals, now let's figure out our period. It goes from here, where this arrow already is, to here. What is that distance? Now, I know the distance is pi, but it might be harder to tell because it's like going to this 1 1/4 pi from 1/4. But if you need to, you can always start from 0 and go from 0 till it repeats to 0. So that is a distance of pi. So my period is pi, and so that means this equals pi, and then I need to cross multiply or solve for b. This might be the easiest way so you don't have to like guess or check, like do I multiply, do I divide? Just set it up, cross multiply, and then you'll know, okay, I'm going to divide by pi on both sides. Oops, that's supposed to be a pi. And then your b term will be 2. Be careful, because my b term is 2. I'm going to put this out here. I'm going to put my theta. Let's see if I can get one more parentheses, and they're really tight. And there you go. So my b term, my x, or my theta minus pi over 4 plus 1.